that after this chapter, Oda is tying up every loose end before the battle in Onigashima. We're not even in Onigashima by the end of this chapter. We have instead Jinbei show up, which I have to give Oda props because I think he saw the theories of Jinbei showing up on Wano very early on. So, but I think a lot of us expected Jinbei to show up while the fight was taking place, the main battle was taking place. I mean, that's when we expected Jinbei to show up. But I think he did it to like separate this arc from Marineford because Jinbei and the rest of the alliance he made in Empire Down, they show up midway during the Whitebeard pirates doing battle with the world government. So yeah, now it makes you wonder what the hell's going to happen next because if Jinbei shows up, and it looks like he showed up by himself, but I'll get into that. We've got the Monster Trio on the week cover, Weekly Shonen Jump. We've got Luffy, Kozuki, Oden, and Raja. And in the colour spread, we've got this, most of the Straw Hats, Robin, Frankie, and Brooke are missing. But you see the Straw Hats with the Tontadas. You got Sanji, Usopp, Zoro, Chopper, and Nami, and Luffy. The things that stand out the most are, number one, the Tontadas are stitching shoes for the Straw Hats. Number two, look at what Luffy's shirt says. It's like, good shoes take you to good places. And the shoes that Luffy's holding up, one of them representing the Sunny, the other representing the Going Merry, which is synonymous with the Straw Hats. As soon as I saw the colour spread, I knew something big was going to happen. Anyway, the beginning of the chapter was nothing more than the Akazaya 9 or the Scabbards calling out Kinemon on the bullshit. Like, oh, he knew what was going to happen. He had planned this out. No. Turns out he's just lucky. And he didn't know really what was going on. He just knew that there's a traitor. So the Scabbards calling him out on that. Anyway, and Kanjuro actually does his job and tries to get away because it's time for me to play the part that was given to me. Now, the one thing note here is like, while you see Kawamatsu going underwater and trying to attack, you see it. What looks to be Kanjuro saying, I tried to get in contact, but the party must be holding up. So the fire festival is taking place. So I just thought that was interesting. Anyway, Kawamatsu comes up from underwater. He attacks Kanjuro. Kanjuro blocks it and then summons a drawing bird, but this time it's actually able to fly. He has Momonosuke. He tries to get away, and this is where the Straw Hats kind of find out that Kanjuro is like the traitor. Luffy gets pissed off. Robin says we need to do something. Sanji uses Skywalk and tries to attack, but this is what, okay, it's obvious that Oda doesn't want to showcase what the Straw Hats have gained through the training that we saw before the end of Wano Act 2, because Sanji tries to attack, okay, Kanjuro summons the Sumigomo, which is the dark cloud which brings down the ink arrows that tries to kill everybody. But I'm pretty sure the Straw Hats would have been fine, but we don't get to see what they do. You just see it raining down on ships, bringing down the fodder. Usopp says he's still in range, so I can try and do something. But when you see the arrows coming down, you see that Momonosuke pleaded with Kanjuro at the start, but kind of reminds me of with Kiros and Diamante. Attack Kiros, and Robin used herself as a shield to protect Rebecca. Sanji does the same thing, but I'm pretty sure Usopp could have done something to summon a plan to stop those arrows from hitting Nami, so Sanji could have continued his attack. But I think Oda is deliberately trying not to showcase what the Straw Hats have gained, because until the battle takes place in Onigashima. That's what I think. Because we've only seen something from Luffy, and that's in Gear 4, where he can use it kind of casually now. We haven't seen what the rest of the Straw Hats have learned and gained. I hope they've done some training. Kanjuro trying to stir up Momonosuke said, your mother, Toki, delayed their deaths by 20 years. Your father, Oden, and your mother, Toki, they delayed the deaths by 20 years. After this, I'm going to go after Hiyori, since I know she's still alive. I'm wondering if Kanjuro knows she's Komurasaki. I said this before, the fact that that got mentioned means we're probably going to see Hiyori in this battle at some point. Momonosuke actually mans up for once and actually says, I promise I'll manage this alone, so I want you to defeat Kaido and Orochi and protect Wano. Which is interesting because he says he wants to kill Kaido when we first heard him say, I want to bring Kaido down, but I want to kill him. But I'm not able to do that. But if you notice, it seems like he's having an internal monologue. Says, what am I going to do? That's impossible. By saying that, no one's going to rescue me. But Luffy says, oh, shout out to you because you acted like a real man. You better survive. We'll come rescue you. The Straw Hats are very casual about this. We are friends after all. Momonosuke tears up. So that gives Luffy even more motivation if he needed it against Kaido. And then this is like, okay, so We see the fleet ships, samurai. This is pretty cool. We have Law with the Akazaya 9 on board his ship, but he says this isn't an for a samurai, so I thought that was kind of funny. And we got Kid saying, we're not going to fall by the hand of straws. Once again, I didn't see Killer there, so I don't know what's up with that. If he's joining along or if he's going to show up on it by himself. But it looks like we got one ship that looked like it was retreating the last time we saw it, but it turns out no, he's getting some weapons from the factory. Some large ass cannons that's going to shoot. I think the straws would have been fine anyway, but it looks like they're cornered, and just when you think it's going to go awry, you see a shockwave come from the waves, from the water, and immediately, oh, okay. And you get the introduction, and the title of the chapters allow me to introduce myself as if we need to know who he is. We knew he was going to show up. So you see the Fishman Karate pose, and it's obvious who it is. When he's trying to introduce himself, look at the panel that sees Jinbei, and they're starstruck by this, but look at the panel from the Strats that it involves. It's the crew that went to Whole Cake Island to bid farewell to Jinbei. So I'm the new recruit, Jinbei, Knight of the Seas. And you see Law and Kid, who's specifically pissed off by this because, oh, he's joining the Straw Hats now. So, sorry I'm late. I came back alive just like I promised. Jinbei is here. And the Straw Hats like Jinbei, like I said, Luffy starstruck. Jinbei has joined the party and he's gonna wreck some shit. But I gotta question the timing because again, it looks like Oda changed it because we thought it would appear join the battle with Kaido. No, he's appearing before them. So this is another loose end that Oda's tied up. Now, notice how we don't see Jinbei with anybody else yet. So we're going to have to get an explanation as to how he got away from Whole Cake Island. We may find out as to what's going on there now with Katakuri and the rest. But here's the thing, Jinbei, the reason he stayed behind in the first place was to protect the Sun Pirates. So that Jinbei was going to show up on Wano because Luffy said, we'll wait your arrival on Wano, Jinbei. Already foreshadowed he would show up. But the fact is he coming solo? Or is he tagging along with the Sun Pirates? Could the Vince Smoke show up? Like I said, we're going to find out what happened to them. I'm pretty sure we may find out if they're alive or not. The statement that Oda made during or after Jump Festa about Wano, I made a video about this. I'll leave a link in the description box below. But anyway, the part that caught my attention when it comes to Wano is, I'll read you this comment. So while I'm showing all these flashbacks, Luffy's party adventures are having their stakes risen as well. They'll soon be faced with the reality that you have to bring sacrifices to the fight for the things that you believe in. To me, I mean, Oda doesn't say that unless something major is going to happen. I mentioned in that video I made that possibly because of that statement is going to refer to Law. But now that Jinbei's shown up, I mean, it's already been introduced as the Helmsman of the Straw Hat Pirates, but the fact that he showed up now, I don't know. It's like there's potential for someone to give up their life. That's if it's going to be Law. It could be Jinbei. I know it sucks because he's just arrived, but why would he show up now before the fight's actually taken place? So I just find that very suspect. And speaking of Oda, there's a lot of buzz about the recent SBS info that we got when it comes to like what we found out in Volume 96 that Oda released. Obviously, we get information on the full crew of the Roger Pirates. We got the favorite foods of the Akazaya 9 or the Scabbards. But the most important part that people took away from this was the mention of the full list of the Shimasuke clan from Wano, which most of them we kind of already knew. But immediately people was like, oh, this means Zoro's from the Shimasuke clan, which we still don't know. And I'm going to name the members that got revealed, but I do want to point out, like, take this with a grain of salt because this information came out before April 1st. So, I mean, I don't think Oda would like play a full April Fool's joke like that, but take it with a grain of salt. So, as of right now, and I'm going to mention my reason for bringing this up. So, as of right now, the Shimasuke clan resides as Kozaburo Shimasuke, Yasui Shimasuke, Toko Shimasuke, which is the daughter of Yasui, Ushimaru Shimasuke, Ryuma Shimasuke, and the two main ones that obviously stuck out is Koshiro Shimasuke and Koina Shimasuke. So to me, it's kind of it explains a couple of things. Like first off, And it also reveals that Kozaburo is the father of Koshiro, and that would also make him the grandfather of Kuina. So, I mean, we already knew we kind of figured that Koshiro had to have a connection with Wano just because of what Zoro learned. His sword techniques, what we saw in Alabasta, he learned that from Koshiro. It had to come from somewhere, so that makes sense. And now it gives more meaning into Zoro using not just the Mitu Emna, also the Wado Ichimaji from Koina, because if she's from Wano, yeah, that has some emotional implications. You think you have to notice here is Zoro, with the exception of one, Zoro has had some type of interaction in some way, shape, or form with every member of the Shimotsuki clan, with the exception of Kozaburo, because he's dead. Ushimaru is dead because he tried to lead the rebellion against Kaido. He died. He's the former daimyo of Ringo. If you remember, he's also the companion to Onimaru, aka Gukimaru. If you remember, Gukimaru is the one that challenged Zoro on the Ringo Bridge. And then after that, he kind of fled with Zoro with Shisui. He collects the weapons. So my point is that's how kind of Ushimaru has a connection with Zoro because Gukimaru had his interaction. Plus, it's technically there's some type of connection there. Also, I mean, Kuina and Koshiro felt self-explanatory. Koshiro trained Zoro the ways, and Kuina's motivation for Zoro to get stronger and become the world's greatest swordsman because of the promise. This is another reason, because there was romantic implications back then, it would have made sense to make Zoro a member of that family, because that would just make things way too weird. Obviously, Yasui, he interacted with Zoro. Zoro got very triggered once Yasui not only died, but also the people were just laughing there because of the artificial devil fruits, because of the effects it had. Zoro got very triggered by that. He says, I'm going to make Orochi pay for killing Yasui. And Toko, obviously the daughter of Yasui, yeah, she also has an interaction with Zoro. And finally is Ryuba, who gave Zoro Shisui after the fight they had on Thriller Bark. That was the very first mention of Wano. So there you go. So even if Zoro isn't from the Shimotsuki clan, the fact of the matter is, most of them, Zoro's had interactions with each of them, with the exception of Kozaburo and Ushimaru. Technically, if you're counting Yukimaru, he has some type of affiliation with him. And I know some people have actually prophesized or theorized that Ushimaru could be the father of Zoro. I don't know, and pretty interesting. Either way, I thought it was an interesting chapter. It moved the plot along, revealed that Jinbei is finally on Wano. Are the rest of the Sunpirates going to get involved? Are the Vince Smoke's going to get involved? We'll probably find out in the next chapter. Either way, I thought it was a great chapter. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. That's going to do it for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. You know the drill. Like this review if you did. Comment down below your thoughts. I'll catch you guys later. Thanks, guys. Bye.